Okay. Hi, Kevin. So the year is 2010. The economy has just collapsed. I apologize for the sirens. The year is 2010. The economy has just collapsed. My dad is unemployed again after briefly being employed, which allowed me to go to a very expensive, very pretentious liberal arts school in Baltimore called Goucher College. Economy collapse, job is lost. I lose. I don't have enough money to go back to school, so I end up going to a state school in Philadelphia, Temple University. I learned very quickly that it is pretty irrelevant for me to go to class. I'm feeling aimless. I've carried over a lot of pretension and have a sense of rebellion because I don't understand economics and I'm self-centered. So I'm not going to class, I'm not having much of a purpose, and I start going to raves because what else am I going to do with my 18-year-old self? So it's October, it is around Halloween, and I am on my way to Bloodfest 2000 and whatever. But Bloodfest 2000 whatever gets shut down before we even get there. I'm arriving, I have my glow sticks at the ready, I probably have on a stupid amount of eyeliner, but all I see are flashing cop cars, a shut front door to a warehouse, and a bunch of kids scantily clad trying to dump their drugs, trying to text to find out where the there never was a party is going to be. And I'm kind of happy because the truth is I don't like being out late. I don't like loud noises very much. I enjoy being able to complain about parties never happening, so it's no sweat to me, especially because the lighting is better than it would be inside the all neon dark rave when I see her. The prettiest girl at the rave. She is tall and lanky and has her hair cut in that like scenester, spiked in the back, straight in the front. Could be like a Twinkie gay boy, could be a very attractive lesbian, just overall like hot early like 2010 scenester look that was popular. And she's wearing a red tutu, some red blood spatter, and a red tank top. And I kind of swivel over to where she is, which is by a Fox News camera. Now, the reporter is asking, so what were you guys expecting here at Bloodfest whatever? And no one is giving an answer. Everyone's looking embarrassed and trying to pretend they are not on massive quantities of drugs. So I, to get the prettiest girl at the rave's attention, say I was expecting virgin sacrifices and, a blood orgy. She, the reporter, scoffs, turns the camera off. The prettiest girl at the rave, she snickers, and then kind of saunters or evaporates away, and life goes on. Fast forward to maybe like February, March of the year. I'm equally aimless, equally pretentious, and kind of disillusioned with everything I'm doing. Listening, working at a bookstore I worked at in high school, saying that public radio is my best friend because it's the only intellectual conversation I'm having, which is true, but mostly because I'm going out, drinking a 40 and not going to class, so it's not like I was giving it much of a chance in retrospect. But that's how the year went, and it is now February/March. Another rave got busted, so we are at a house party. But this house party is filled with tanks of nitrous and kids from the inner city and kids from the suburb who all would be going to a rave if raves weren't getting busted every weekend. So now there's nitrous in a compact space of this shitty North Philly house. I buy myself a nitrous balloon, and in case you're not familiar, nitrous is given as a anesthetic. It's in dentist office. They use it on animals. What it does, and this is how it was explained to me, was all it's going to do is kill some brain cells. It's like breathing in gasoline. That's it. Which to me at the time seemed like, oh well, if it's only going to kill brain cells, then what's the harm? I have so many of those to spare. So I take a balloon. It comes off of this huge metal tank, and there's a hiss, and the balloon fills up, and you hold it like a cigarette, and you breathe in, and everything gets bassy, and everything gets slow, and it's kind of like your brain becomes a fisheye lens of those cameras, you know what I'm talking about, and you sort of drift, and when you start to fall, they call that fishtailing. And that's what happens off of one hit of a balloon. Lasts about 5 seconds, and then you're just giddy. I loved nitrous. Talking about it now, I'm still getting kind of romantic. So I'm at the party. I've had a balloon. I'm on my way to the restroom. And on the stairs, I see her again, the prettiest girl at the rave. This time, even though it's not Halloween, it's not Bloodfest, she's still just in all red. And as I pass her, she's just on her phone and looks kind of miserable. I say, what's the matter, prettiest girl ever? Can I buy you a balloon? You look bored. And she goes, nah, see, I'm waiting on the E dealer. There's only the blue pills at this party, and the blue pills make me drowsy. And I'm waiting on the red E pills. That E, side note, is ecstasy. And depending what it's cut with, it has different types. And I, now back in the story, I'm very impressed with her knowledge and her expertise on ecstasy pills. I find this charming. And I said, oh, and I expressed that to her. I tell her how much I appreciate her not just flippantly taking drugs, but having taste. And, she's like a wine connoisseur. And I said, well, while you're waiting, I'd be happy to buy you a balloon. She goes, nah, no. See, it's fucked up. But I don't fuck with hippie crack. I've never heard this phrase before. Because I was a suburbanite who squirmed my way into an inner city and see these raves, which were drug-inducedly about love and coming together. So that was their PR campaign. There was the suburbanites who paid to get into the parties, paid $28, and there was the inner city kids who knew how to break into the warehouse and knew how to sell the drugs and were making money off of the suburban kids. But to the outside image, it seemed like it was an all coming together sort of hurrah bullshit. She clearly was from a world I was not from. She says, nah, I don't fuck with hippie crack no more. But it's stupid. I used to love it. I say, well, what happened? Why'd you stop? She goes, well, the gangs that are at festivals, like at hippie fest and shit? And I say, no, I do not know about the gangs and festivals. She goes, all right, well, look, there's the Grateful Graves, and I'm gonna make up a name because I don't remember the other one, but we'll call them the clown people. And this is generations. I was born a Grateful Grave, and some people are born clown people, and we hate each other, and we got turf wars at raves to sell hippie crack. So like this one night, right? I was at a party at a rave, like outside with some friends, and I shouldn't have been there because it was a clown people party, and we kind of stayed too late, and we had been raving, and I was on their turf, and I was coming down. She means from drugs. She was coming down from drugs, and she didn't. I didn't. I'm being her now again. I didn't like realize that like all of my friends had left except for me and this guy who I used to date, but we were cool, right? Like we were like still tight, and I told her that I was familiar with friendship. She goes, "All right, cool." And so I was coming down, and suddenly we were surrounded by all of them in their purple, and there was just me and him in a red. And they grabbed me, they took off my red bandana, and they shoved it in my mouth, and they grabbed him, and he tried fighting, but he was high and he couldn't really still understand what was going on. And they said, "He's gonna suck the tank." And they had a full tank of nitrous and a balloon. Me again. A balloon kills brain cells. A tank, it's like a billion balloons. I don't know how much it is, but it's fucking too much. So they grab her, and they say, "You're gonna fucking watch him suck the tank." And they grab him, and he deep throats the tank. And then there's a hiss, and then all of his red, and then all of her tears, and her face turning red from hate and fear, he turns blue, and he's dead before he hits the ground. This is what she tells me at this party. She goes, "But it's stupid, right? I fucking love hippie crack. You can buy me a balloon." The truth is, I don't remember if I bought her a balloon. I do remember going home that night, turning on public radio, and realizing I'm not doing anything I want to be doing, and that there's no there here at these parties. And while she might have been the prettiest girl at the rave, I have to figure my own stuff out, because that's not enough to keep me in a stupid subculture. So I bothered some teachers, and I got a lot of scholarship, and I went back to school the next year. And that year I learned a lot of things, and I got out a lot of stupidity I needed to get out. But it's also the year I fell in love with public radio and with podcasts. And I'm now a freelance radio producer, and I couldn't imagine wanting to do anything else. So I guess I'm glad I had the privilege to escape, and I'm glad I can tell stories that aren't being told now, and I'm glad that all accumulated in part thanks to the prettiest girl at the rave.